What if I told you that the news you see every day isn't the full truth? What if the global economic chessboard is shifting in ways that could change everything we know about international power? Tonight, we unravel a story that has sent shockwaves through Washington, Beijing, and Tehran. A deal that has left U.S. policymakers scrambling and economic analysts speechless. The United States thought it had China and Iran cornered. But in a move that experts are calling geopolitical jiu-jitsu, Beijing and Tehran have executed an economic partnership so powerful, so strategic, that it may shift the balance of global trade forever. This isn't just another trade deal. This is a calculated maneuver to bypass U.S. sanctions, to undermine American economic dominance, and to rewrite the rules of international commerce. This story seems simple on the surface, a trade deal between two countries. But what lies beneath is far more shocking. Tonight we dive into secret meetings, hidden economic strategies, and a brewing conflict that could redefine global alliances. The question is, did America push China and Iran into each other's arms? And if so, what happens next? When we return, classified documents, economic warfare, and a twist that no one saw coming. For decades, China and Iran have shared economic and political ties, but their latest agreement marks a turning point in global trade dynamics. To understand how we got here, we must look back at the long and complex history between these nations and their relationship with the United States. The roots of this alliance stretch back to the early days of U.S. sanctions against Iran. First, imposed in the wake of the Iranian Revolution in 1979. Over the years, these sanctions have tightened, with Washington repeatedly aiming to cripple Iran's economy and limit its access to global markets. In response, Tehran sought alternative trade partners, and China, hungry for energy resources, became an ideal ally. By the early 2000s, China had established itself as Iran's largest trading partner. Despite mounting pressure from Washington, Beijing continued to import Iranian oil, using indirect banking channels and barter systems to circumvent sanctions. As tensions between the U.S. and Iran escalated, China strengthened its economic ties with Tehran, securing lucrative energy deals and infrastructure projects. Key figures in this unfolding story include Chinese President Xi Jinping, whose Belt and Road Initiative seeks to expand Beijing's influence through global infrastructure investments, and Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has long advocated for reducing Iran's dependence on Western economies. Meanwhile, former U.S. President Donald Trump's aggressive tariff policies and withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal in 2018 set the stage for deeper cooperation between Beijing and Tehran. Investigative reports have revealed a series of secret negotiations between Chinese and Iranian officials, dating back years before the trade deal was officially announced. Leaked documents suggest that this agreement involves not only economic cooperation, but also military and technological exchanges, raising concerns among Western intelligence agencies. Not everyone sees this alliance as a mere economic partnership. Critics argue that it represents a strategic challenge to U.S. global influence, with some calling it a direct response to Washington's economic warfare tactics. Others believe it is a necessary shift in the global order, where emerging powers challenge the traditional dominance of Western nations. With conflicting viewpoints emerging, the real question remains: is this partnership a pragmatic move for economic survival, or is it a deliberate step toward reshaping the world's power structure? As we continue our investigation, we uncover the hidden forces driving this unprecedented alliance and the ripple effects it may have on global politics. As tensions mount, we must ask, what is the real root of this growing alliance? To understand the full scope of this deal, we need to examine the motivations behind China and Iran's decision to strengthen their partnership at this specific moment in history. Was it a calculated response to escalating U.S. sanctions, or is there an even deeper geopolitical strategy at play? One of the biggest beneficiaries of this agreement is undoubtedly China. By securing long-term access to Iranian oil at discounted rates, Beijing not only guarantees energy security, but also strengthens its leverage against Western economic pressure. Furthermore, this deal provides China with access to Iran's infrastructure, projects including roads, railways, and ports, aligning perfectly with the Belt and Road Initiative's ambitious global expansion plans. For Iran, the benefits are equally significant. Years of crippling sanctions have left its economy struggling, and access to Chinese investments and markets presents a lifeline. But more than just economic relief, this partnership signals a bold defiance of U.S. hegemony, sending a message that Tehran will not be isolated on the global stage, but as some gain, others stand to lose. The United States, having relied on economic sanctions as its primary tool of coercion, now faces a challenge. If nations like China can successfully circumvent these sanctions, does Washington's economic influence wane? And if so, does this encourage other nations to follow suit, further eroding the power of U.S. financial restrictions? Hidden forces are also at play. Intelligence reports indicate that beyond trade and investment, the deal includes military collaboration. Satellite imagery has revealed Chinese-built facilities appearing in Iran, sparking concerns among Western defense analysts. Could this be the start of a deeper military alliance that threatens regional stability? And then there's Russia, quietly observing from the sidelines. With growing ties between Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran, could this be the foundation of a new economic and military bloc designed to counter Western dominance? Is this alliance a mere economic convenience, or is it the beginning of a larger strategic shift in global power dynamics? One thing is certain, the implications of this deal stretch far beyond trade. The U.S. must now reassess its approach. Will Washington double down on sanctions, or will it be forced to rethink its strategies in an era where economic alliances can shift the tides of power? Was this really just a coincidence, or is there a bigger conspiracy at work? As we continue, we reveal newly uncovered evidence that could change everything we thought we knew about this deal. And then, everything changed. A shocking discovery emerged from classified intelligence leaks. Reports indicate that deep within this economic agreement, China and Iran have signed a covert security pact, one that goes beyond trade and military cooperation. This secret clause grants China long-term strategic control over key Iranian ports and infrastructure, allowing Beijing to project power deep into the Middle East. Western intelligence agencies are now in a state of alarm. If these reports are accurate, the deal marks an unprecedented shift in global power dynamics. U.S. officials, caught off guard, are scrambling to formulate a response. Washington had assumed that sanctions and economic pressure would deter both nations from forming such a tight alliance. Instead, they may have inadvertently driven them closer together, forging a coalition that could reshape the balance of power for decades to come. So what happens now? What does this all mean for the future? The world is watching as the United States, China, and Iran move their next pieces on this high-stakes chessboard. Will Washington attempt to reassert dominance? Or is this a sign that a new global order is emerging? This story is far from over, and the question remains, who is truly in control of the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is this a strategic necessity or a dangerous shift in global power? Subscribe for more deep dive, analysis, and stay informed about the stories that shape our world.